Hello, and welcome to Filmmates.
I'm Lief.
And I'm JJ.
Here at Filmmates, we make use of both our film degrees and our real-life industry experience to analyze popular movies and shows on a more technical level.
This week, we're taking a look at Mean Girls.
So yeah, that leads us kind of into the editing, which was a mixed bag. It was good, but also bad. But mostly bad.
Mostly bad.
Mostly, actually, it was bad. Like the sequences, the montage sequences.
Yeah.
Were all very fun. But it was like a very basic montage, and it was more because of the snappy dialogue and the snappy delivery.
I feel like montage...
It just cuts itself.
I mean, okay, I really like editing, so it might just be me. But I think montages are actually easier to cut.
They are.
Because you get a little more leeway with montages that you don't get with other things.
Yeah.
I feel like actually the hardest thing to cut is dialogue scenes.
And those are what are
Those
cut
are the
badly.
things that fail the most.
Like, the scene-to-scene editing was pretty good. The transitions were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The transitions included some of the best use of crossfades. Like,
I hate crossfades, and I didn't even mind them here.
Yeah, because they were used in a way that made sense. They were used in a way that works with what they're doing. For example, one of the crossfades was from Janice's drawn map of the school into the cafeteria, because it shows you that one of the tables in the cafeteria and fades into that table in real life in the cafeteria.
Yeah, they also do it again, I think, when they go from the list of things that they're gonna do to Regina George, like take away this and this and this into like the scenes that they do that.
And after the Caesar scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The two faces.
The Caesar.
We should just kill Caesar.
It's almost as if the background fades.
Yeah.
Let me actually pull that up.
Oh, they do just have the background just melt away. I almost don't even know. I think
you know what they did?
It wasn't a crossfade at all, I don't think.
Yeah, they cut her out, and then they got a what's the term? What's the fucking term that I'm looking for?
They matted her in. No.
No, they got a when you shoot something just so you can put something on top of it later. Can't remember the term. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I'm blanking too.
Slate? Is that the term? I don't think so.
Google.
I don't even know how I would Google that.
Just explain it.
Anyway, so it'll come to me eventually. But there is sometimes when you know you're going to be...
Insert Lief in post coming back to be like, hey, I'm just going to add this here. This is what it's called.
This is what it's called. It's, when... Plate! Plate! That's what it's called. When you shoot a plate. Basically, if you're going to be doing green screen...
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to be doing green screen and things... where you cut somebody, it's like shooting just the background of something with nothing else, like no subject in it, so that you can use it later as a background for something you put over a green screen. So basically what they did is they just cut out her from the previous shot, held that, and then cross-faded the background with the plate that they shot of the bathroom.
Yeah, and they put her in front of a green screen.
Yes. Yeah, it has to be a green screen, because even the little hairs that are on the side that are so blown out. Why is she lit like that? It looks bad.
Yeah.
Even those little hairs are cut out perfectly, so that has to be...
Because they match it to the bathroom, and the bathroom's poorly lit.
Except the light source is literally right behind her. There's a window literally right behind her, but the light source is coming directly from her side. Why is it lit like this?
To make you mad.
This makes me angry that it's lit this bad. But anyway, so yeah, the editing, it just overuses close-ups.
It overuses close-ups, and it also does this thing where it cuts, too on the nose, in my opinion, and too much. Like, yeah. Every time a person talks...
It feels like you have to see them.
They immediately want to cut to them, or if, once in a while you'll get, like, a reaction, but it's, like, so rare. Like, there's little tiny things that, like, I notice could have made everything better that they just don't do. And it's in the post, which doesn't make sense on why they didn't do it.
Yeah, and another thing that I had a problem with is sometimes the way that they cut around a space was very confusing. Like the entrance scene, and I think that's partly because of the way the entrance scene into meeting Regina's mom, partly because of the way it was shot, but the way that they cut around is very confusing. We had to rewatch the scene a couple of times to figure out where everything was in the space.
Yeah.
Just because the way that they chose to cut it and the shots that they chose to use in that moment were just strange.
Yeah. But, like, besides that, it's just not good editing, really. There's a couple standout things, but it's just not.
Yeah.
Nothing really, like, if they were a good scene, it didn't really do anything extra, and most of the scenes were bad.
Yeah.
There's, like, a couple standout moments, and we already mentioned them. They're so few and far between.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's necessarily totally can be attributed to the editor. Well, they also had, number one, they had an additional editor credited. Also, like, 5 billion assistant editors, but they wouldn't have affected the edit at all because that's not their job. An assistant editor basically just does the menial things and sets the project up and sets everything up. And
they normally sync audio with the camera.
Yeah, organize the project file, pick up dailies, get coffee, depending on what kind of assistant they are. And they don't actually have much of a hand in the edit itself.
Normally, there's, like, the interesting thing about, like, assistant editors and editors is normally, like, an editor has an assistant editor they like and they always get. Because editors are very specific type people.
Yeah, they're interesting creatures that lurk in the darkness in rooms with no windows and where time does not exist except for the deadline. And they sit in their caves drinking their coffee or tea or other beverage filled with caffeine, almost always with alcohol involved. And they sit and they stare at a screen for hours.
And then they cry.
And then they cry.
Yeah, that's what editing is.
They're basically a college student, but for the entire rest of their lives.
I've fallen asleep multiple times editing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's just, like, happens that you overwork.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it. I love editing.
I mean, I am a professional editor in here.
I have done a lot of professional work in editing. I've also done professional work in news editing, which is, like, a totally different ballgame.
Completely different ballgame.
In the sense that there's deadlines, and instead of it being like, you have a deadline of 2 weeks, you have a deadline of 3 hours before this has to be on YouTube and everything else, or it's old news.
And it has to be, as opposed to, like, a lot of narrative stuff, which is more soft. I worked politics editing, which is not as strict as news editing, but there's more egos.
It's also less traumatizing.
Well, it's traumatizing in different ways, because you have to deal with the fucking egos of literally everybody involved.
You don't have to watch ISIS propaganda videos.
No, we do not have to watch ISIS propaganda videos or like see footage of dead bodies. People. No, that is true.
I remember leaving work every day after that job and just going and being like, why did I just do this? I'd have to, like, go get a cupcake every once in a while to make myself feel
just
better.
Just to brighten the world up a little bit after seeing so much darkness.
I would call my mom and be like, Mom, I'm sad. People died in the world, but also a monkey was born in a zoo in Thailand.
You always need those kinds of pieces just thrown in there. Otherwise,
it's
just depressing.
That's why there's actually, like, this thing in news where they make you actually insert. They say that you should open with light, go into bad, and then finish with something light, like super light. You should, like, here's something about the UN. Here's a bombing in like Syria, and then also here's a pretty animal that's been born in some random zoo, or oh my God, it's National Children's Day, or Putin has a hockey match, and he looks funny. Don't kill me, Putin.
Don't send any assassins after us. We just report the news as it happens. Anyway.
The editing feels like it was rushed. So maybe that was it. It feels like
possibly.
It feels like this feels like is actually the it looks like a second pass as opposed to a third or fourth pass, cuz like normally when you do editing, you'll go through like 4 or 5 passes.
You know what? Now that you mention it, it does feel like just a fine cut.
Yeah, it doesn't. So normally the cuts go rough.
No, assembly.
Well, yeah, there's an assembly cut, a rough cut, a fine cut,
couple more fine cuts.
You normally go through like 3 or 4 fine cuts in my experience. Or when it comes to my film, I went through 20 fine cuts. I'm going through 20 fine cuts. I'm on 20. And then you have your final cut that is exported and then sent to other realms of post.
Yeah. And then somebody in the studio decided they didn't like something, so your final cut is not actually your final cut.
And here's the thing. This is like why I get so mad at people who are like, editing doesn't matter. Editing, what do you mean that the editing of that scene means things? Oh my god, you spend so much time on one scene, every single cut matters.
And then you have to go back, and there's like films that were made in their edit. Part of the problem, I think, might have been that they had to do some recuts because they made a film that was raunchier than the MPAA would allow. Like, for example, and this is a funny example because you can go through and watch the film and actually see the ADR change.
Yeah.
There is the joke of the one chick who made out with a hot dog. That in the original script that she had masturbated with a frozen hot dog.
And honestly, I think the made out with a hot dog is actually kind of funnier.
Yeah, it is a little bit funnier to imagine how the fuck she might have done that.
Because with the masturbate. Also, I just want to know, like, was she telling people that?
Yeah, how did other people like making out with a frozen?
Like, unless it was like at a party and she did it in public, or
who
it was a video.
Who would masturbate with a frozen hot dog in public?
Drunk. I don't know.
I feel like making out with a hot dog is something more you would do when you were drunk.
Yeah, I feel like making out with a hot dog could have also just been something you did in like the 5th
also,
grade.
I do not imagine that masturbating with a frozen hot dog would go well.
I feel like you shouldn't masturbate with frozen things.
You shouldn't masturbate with food.
Well, yeah.
At all.
You shouldn't masturbate with food. That is your local health, your daily health tip. Don't masturbate with food. Just stick with ice.
Don't masturbate with ice either.
No, a lot of people do.
I'm thinking about the Ice Job film that you had me read the script of.
Wait, an Ice Job film? Oh yeah, I forgot there was a. Oh my gosh, I have been sent scripts for films with a lot of weird sexual stuff in them. I don't know why.
The foot job. You didn't get the script for that, but that's just.
I actually got the script to that somehow.
You did get a script to the foot job film?
Yeah, I think somebody in the senior class might have sent it to me, and I had it somewhere.
You have
It's an old version of it, but yeah, that happened.
Version of it was good.
Let's not piss off everybody we know.
Yeah, let's not piss off. We might cut some of this shit.
But don't masturbate with food. But making out with a hot dog, I just think is so much funnier because you just are imagining it.
But you could see in the scene where
instead of reshooting it, they just ADR'd it.
Yeah, where Regina causes pandemonium in the school because she throws the burn book pages everywhere. She starts
a riot.
She literally starts like a fucking riot.
They should have played that song.
This one chick sees it and she takes the page off the wall and goes, she says, masturbated with a frozen hot dog. That was one time. And the ADR'd it, and if you watch her lips, you can see her saying masturbated.
Yeah.
And they changed it to made out, and then they cut in to cut out frozen to so they cut in just to where she says hot dog, and you could tell that was the same shot, and then they just cut in later.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of times where they did that, where it was one shot, and they basically do a jump cut into later in the shot because it moved, and it moved enough that you were like, okay, it doesn't feel as weird as a jump cut.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in the infamous, don't have sex. If you have sex, you'll get pregnant and die.
I don't like that one at all. I think it was, like, it wasn't awful. Like, I don't like the idea, I don't hate the idea of jumping in. I just didn't like that it felt slightly off. It felt obvious.
There was like this.
It was both a push in, then a jump cut, and then a push in.
Yeah, it was like the shot was pushing in on Coach Carr, and it cuts to later in on that push in, and JJ and I think that maybe there was a joke thrown in there that they couldn't get away with, that they had to cut out.
Yeah.
Also, with the with the hot dog thing, going back to that, they actually had to edit the burn book and post. They actually had to put visual effects because it was really in the burn
pretty
book.
Well done. The only thing is that it just doesn't make sense. It looks really natural, but I do see the idea that maybe, like, obviously that the masturbate with frozen hot dog is longer than made out with a hot dog, so it, like, you can tell that the space is actually for
something bigger.
Yeah, but besides that, it looks pretty...
It looks convincing enough that I wouldn't have known had I not seen that article about it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason why some of the cuts are so weird, is because they're cutting around things. Yeah. Yeah, the casting and the acting, moving forward, I think it's a testament to the casting and acting that the editing was not great, and yet the film was still funny.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Most of the time when the editing is bad, it ruins the film completely for me. Like, I can't...
Like, it ruins because a lot of a performance is in the editing. Yeah. The way that they choose to cut things together.
Yeah, and it can really distract you from good acting or bad acting.
Especially with comedy, because you have to have that timing just right.
Yeah, so it really is a testament to the writing of Tina Fey. Yeah. And the acting of everybody involved, and the chemistry of the actors involved.
Yeah. The reason why Mean Girls is still remembered to this day is because of the dialogue. Everybody knows some of the quotes. They're funny. They're just funny, and they're well delivered.
Yeah. And it's very memeable.
Yeah, it is very memeable. There's just some great lines in there.
It's just like, you can use them in specific situations. Like, she doesn't go here.
She doesn't go here. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
But the,
yeah.
The ages are...
Interesting. It's weird that they mixed teen actors with adult actors, because, like, you look at Lindsay Lohan and she looks like a teenager. She looks so fucking young. But then you look at the guy who plays Aaron Samuels and he looks like he should have a mortgage.
A mortgage? He looks 2004 hot.
Yeah, he looks like fucking,
that boy next door.
No, he looks like, Troy Bolton.
Yeah, he looks like a older Troy Bolton.
Whatever that actor's name
is. But now Zac Efron. Zac Efron looks older.
Yeah, it was just a little bit strange on some of the ages.
Yeah, I could see that, but I don't think it was as jarring as some other films.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Game of Thrones, where you're just like, why is that man, like, 30 and that child, like, 8?
Game of Thrones, you're either in your mid-20s or you're prepubescent. No in between.
You either can grow a full beard or you can't grow a beard to save your life.
You're not even old enough to have facial hair. Or right in between seasons, like, puberty hits you like a fucking bus, like it did to the poor kid. Like, it did to the kid who plays Robin.
Yeah.
The kid who plays Robin, Aaron,
there's like a gap of, like, one season between when we see Robin once, when we see Robin again.
And in between, puberty hit him like the bus does at the end of Mean Girls. Like, and he literally grew like a foot, and his voice also dropped a foot.
He's also, like, taller than Baelish was. It was just weird.
And he has to, like, hunch over.
Yeah, it's... like, down to his shoulders.
I swear this is not a Game of Thrones podcast. We're talking about Mean Girls here.
But it was just such a... Oh,
the problem I had with the writing is, yes, it was very funny. The dialogue was very snappy.
There's some things that are no longer, okay, so here's the two things that were actually
wrong.
3, I'll say. there's like, what is the theme of this film?
Okay, so the theme of this film appears to be that you shouldn't be mean to other people, which...
You won't get good things, unless apparently you're mean to the mean people.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. Even then, it's like the theme of the film is like, you shouldn't be mean to other people, even if they're mean to you. Which is like the thesis of the film. It's what Katie has to learn. Like,
if that was that would be the log line.
That would be well, not the log line, but like that's the thesis of the film. I would say
that's the moral of the story.
Which, that's a basic, but it's like a teen comedy. It's fine for it to be like a very basic, simplistic theme. It's a comedy. Here's the problem though: Janice never faces any fucking consequences. She's praised for being mean. She basically turns Katie into a bitch.
Like she creates the problem and she faces no consequences.
Problem.
She ends up getting a net positive at the end.
Yeah, like
a huge net positive. She ends up getting a boyfriend and
being more popular
and like
and all the other girls respect her for like being like, hey, I basically
destroyed a bunch of people's lives.
Yeah, I basically destroyed Regina's life.
And Katie's life and everybody involved.
And then she has the nerve to get angry at Katie for being a bitch, when she's the one who encouraged her to hang out with the plastics and be a crypto bitch in the first place.
Yeah, and then also Aaron is a hypocrite.
Aaron is a massive hypocrite. Because he's all like... He gets mad at Katie for being like shallow and things like that, and he like appears to like girls who aren't shallow, who aren't into all the. But he willingly gets back with fucking
Yeah, and also I'm pissed at the way he gets back with her because one, he invites Caddy to this party. He implies that he wants her to like date him,
like
and she flirts with her completely, and then he goes off to get a drink and makes out with a girl who's supposed to be her friend.
And his ex. Like, sure, Regina initiated it, but
he deserves every bad thing to happen.
Regina initiated it, and eventually...
It doesn't matter, he should have gone with it, at all.
At first he was like, oh no. But then he's like, okay. And gets back together with her.
And then he gets mad at Caddy all the time about the fact that she's acting like Regina, even though that's supposed to be the girl he likes, because guess what? He's dating her.
And even when Katie calls him out, being like, Regina's really shallow. What do you see in her? He's like, well, stuff and things. And it's like, no!
They have apparently nothing in common, but they're still dating.
No, you're just dating her because she's hot and you're probably fucking.
They're definitely fucking, didn't she? She said she was half a virgin when they met.
Which half? What does that translate to? Like, is it that she just did anal, or is it that she just did oral?
Or, I think it's supposed to be anal.
Okay.
Or maybe she only did anal and then she lost her virginity. I don't know.
Her vaginity?
I don't know. But it's one of them. It's one of the three options. Actually, all of the three options are probably involved.
Anyway.
But, moving on.
Also, this movie was a lot more racist than I remember it being.
He's also, you shouldn't care about being popular, but you are popular, so, your opinion on whether or not people should want to be popular doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is also definitely more racist
than I remember it being,
but there's a lot of stereotypes with that. And, I think the worst is Asian people, and then I also think...
yeah, the two Asian girls...
And Africa, of course, because...
The two Asian girls who get names are Vietnamese actresses, and they speak Vietnamese, but their names are, I've heard mixed sources of them being... Their names are either Korean or, a mixture of Vietnamese and Korean. And it's those things are not interchangeable. Those are two very different languages.
Yeah.
In two very different cultures.
And they also do this thing where I feel like what happened was they were told to say other things and then they put worse things in the subtitles.
Yeah, some people who speak Vietnamese have pointed out that some of the subtitles are not at all what the girls actually say.
And also they're normally what they are actually saying is not that bad, but what they say in the subtitles they use the N-word.
Yeah, for in the subtitles they say the N-word. What the girl actually said was, "Oh, please," essentially.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's, like, the thing.
And so it's like, oh, that joke is so uncomfortable in so many different ways. But, like, you added that in there, and that's not what those girls said.
Yeah, and it also makes this thing, like, I find it, like, yeah, it does happen where, like, if you're surrounded by people who all speak a different language with you, you want to, like, speak that language together. But it's normally not, like, the only language you speak.
Yeah, together. And that was strange too, that when they were talking to each other, and it was like in the broad group that they were not speaking in English.
Yeah, like even at like this assembly, it almost implied that they couldn't speak English,
which is strange
because they go to like...
They clearly speak enough English to understand what other people are saying.
Yeah, and like yeah, because they overhear somebody saying something, and then it starts their fight.
Yeah.
I also hate when it's, like, older men and, like, that stereotype of older men and Asian girls. I really hate that.
I thought it was really uncomfortable that they made a joke out of an adult man molesting
and we don't see any, he flees the premises, but we don't see him ever face consequences.
The fact that was treated as a joke was really uncomfortable, because it's just not funny. It's quite frankly not funny that this guy was molesting a couple of underage girls.
Like, he's a predator.
He's a predator. Why are you treating this as a joke?
Honestly, I just wish that the principal got to hit him.
Yeah. I do wish that he had been able to use that baseball bat.
Put it to use.
That would have been funny. It's just like...
Yeah. And a lot of the jokes surrounding her being from Africa is just like, No, I mean, I think it's more the ones that surround her parents when they talk about Africa.
It's like, did you look
up Africa?
Like, why aren't you staying in specific countries? Why, like, it feels...
It's like, and it's like they use, like, really, like weird things like fertility bases and, like, things like that.
It feels like it would... yeah.
It's like a stereotype. They make it a huge stereotype of what Africa is, as if it's all one country instead of a continent with many countries.
Yeah.
Can't talk too much because that's not my life experience, but I just feel like they may have should have not done that.
Yeah.
They're also like, besides the awful things,
just some things that just don't make sense.
Like there's some lack of logics, or logic leaps that happen.
I'm shocked that
oh, wait a minute. There's also, before we get into that, as people who are not straight, I felt a little uncomfortable by some of the humor around gay people and stuff like that. Specifically one, I hated the fact that, so when I first watched the movie, I always thought Janice was gay until the very end, and I feel like they didn't play off the part of her being... Because, like, no matter what you say, like, oh, she could be bisexual, they don't play it that way.
No, they do not.
In the end, it's like, oh, yeah, everybody called her a lesbian, but she's actually straight.
It was actually supposed to be, like, a small joke because she's Lebanese. Yeah. And, like, a misunderstanding of Lebanese as lesbian as well as, like, other things. But it was just not played well.
Yeah. They did it better in Glee.
Yeah. If Glee did something better than you, that's not something that Jane Lynch said, you fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, Santana also had some great lines, but Jane Lynch was just fucking hilarious. Jane Lynch in general is hilarious. She married herself in Glee.
That was, like, literally if the show had just been about her, it would have been a good show.
They should have done a spin-off show of just Jane.
Yeah, I feel like it ran its course by that point then.
All of Janice's jokes towards, Damien about him being gay.
Too gay to function.
Too gay to function. That would be funny if she was
if she
herself was a part of the community, it would be funny.
Like, that's something that...
But as a straight person, I don't want to hear you making those jokes about me.
Like, if a straight person were to make that joke at me, I'd be a little bit uncomfortable. But if a gay person were to make that joke at me, I think it was hilarious.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I watched it and I thought she was a lesbian, I was okay with it. Or even bisexual, I would have been fine with it. But it's just that she was a straight person saying these things.
And it was just uncomfortable.
It just made me feel a little uncomfortable.
I also don't like the fact that it played into that 2000s trope of the gay guy being one of the girls.
And, like, he's in the bathroom
He's in the girls' bathroom
Which that should not have been allowed, and it should not have happened.
I would have been really uncomfortable with that.
They should have been meeting in, like, the janitor's closet.
Yeah, I would have been very uncomfortable with a cis man just showing up.
And they make it as if, like the girls being afraid of him being in the bathroom shouldn't be afraid of him being in the bathroom, and that's just wrong.
Yeah.
Or being uncomfortable with him being in the bathroom are wrong. And that's the thing that really got me. I'm like, no matter if you're gay or not, you shouldn't be in the girls' bathroom.
Yeah.
It's different, like, when it's, like, a trans person, because this is, like, that's not bringing the debate.
Or, like, a trans guy who doesn't pass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, a trans guy who doesn't pass ain't going into the men's bathroom. I'm telling you that right now.
That's what I'm saying. Is, like, that, you can use our bathroom just fine. But it's when it's, like, a cisgender... Man, gay or not, I don't want you in the girls' bathroom. That's just, no. That's just uncomfortable. And women have a right to be uncomfortable by that fact.
Yeah. And it was just played off as a weird joke. Yeah.
And then there's also just, like, sheer leaps of logic.
Yeah.
Of, like, the thing that really got me was just, like, the end goal of everybody. Somehow, the one popular girl somehow learned a totally different language.
Right, like, yeah, somehow...
One of them just learned Vietnamese.
Fucking Gretchen learned Vietnamese and then decided to start straightening her hair and following all the Vietnamese girls. And that was a little strange to me.
Then also, like, Regina George, after suffering a traumatic spinal injury, like, within the last couple months probably... joined the field hockey team?
As a senior,
and is apparently, like, the star player, which just doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. You don't join sports like that your senior year.
Yeah, and
then also be the star player, and also, you just don't play sports after a major spinal injury like that.
Especially, like, field hockey. Field hockey is rough and aggressive. Like, schools normally would not allow you to play after a traumatic injury like that.
But yeah, her then being into field hockey afterwards when she had shown no...
She should have been, like, got really into, like, student council or really into
like,
debate drama or, like, anything besides field hockey.
The only one that I really like where the plastics ended up was,
the girl who does the weather. Because it made sense because she made the joke earlier and then she did it. Like, that one I thought made
funny.
sense.
It was funny and cute.
And I think that's just because she's funny and cute. But I really like the fact that it's something that was already set up earlier.
Yeah.
And then it came to fruition. Like, they set up that joke really early on where Caddy and her have that conversation about her being able to tell the weather with her boobs. Yeah, that's basically it. That's the logic jumps. Also, Aaron Samuel's whole thinking process is a logic jump of teenage boydom.
Yeah, he's just an idiot.
Yeah.
Just, like, other things. Soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was pretty poppin'.
I think it was good. I think
very 2000s.
But a lot of the songs are just, like, good 2000 songs that you still get down to now.
Yeah.
Like, I would still play it now if, like, I remembered it.
Yeah, they were bopping.
And, like, the references were all, like, not super dated.
Yeah, that's another
thing.
Like,
everybody still knows who the Spice Girls are.
You would be shocked. So, in conclusion, does the film hold up? Maybe it's just because I was watching it for the technical aspects, but I didn't think it was as funny as when I watched it the first time around.
I think it's funny if you watch it without thinking about the technical.
Yeah. Maybe
all the jokes that were always really funny are still always really funny.
Oh, yeah, like, you go, Coco.
There's gonna be always those scenes that are just hilarious.
Yeah, there were, like, things, maybe it's also because some of the jokes I now realize, oh, that's kind of fucked up that you think that's funny.
Yeah. But there's still scenes that every time you watch it, you will think it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, you go, Coco, Kill Caesar.
That's still funny. The if you have sex, you'll get pregnant. And then die.
That's so funny, even though the editing is wonky.
Yeah, that's still definitely funny.
The cafeteria scene still hits. I think it works, but I think that's more to do with the editing being actually good. Most of Tina Fey's parts are pretty good.
Yeah, she's still pretty funny.
I like that scene where she has a vest, because there's people who wear vests like that.
I can picture the exact, like, place that she works at that she'd have a vest that looks like that.
Yeah, like, I feel like there's a couple restaurants that I've been to that have those vests. But yeah, no. I like that bit where she was like, oh yeah, I'm here with my boyfriend. She just points to a random biker in the back. Like, why is that biker here?
The fact that he was there was funnier than anything else.
I was like, that man. I like all the bits where they do the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, those were all fun bits. And that paid off nicely with the riot scene towards the end.
Yeah. They obviously got pretty good stunt doubles and stunt people.
They had they had a lot of stunt doubles.
They had, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of stunt people.
They also have 5 billion assistant editors, and I don't know why.
The thing that gets me is that they have a quarter of what Game of Thrones has for a battle of stunt doubles. And that is saying a lot.
Okay, they have 9 assistant editors.
Too many assistant editors. There's too many cooks in this editing lounge.
Why did they need so many? I get that some of them were for, like, in Canada.
I feel like people, so they did reshoots
in Canada, so maybe that's why.
What I think happened is they did reshoots and then they lost some of their assistant editors, so they got new assistant editors.
So anyway, we've got some housekeeping things. So we are on iTunes. We are going to be doing a rating and reviewing sweepstakes. Because we need to get some ratings and reviews to help grow our show, get us some more listeners, move up the charts a little bit. So we're doing a sweepstakes. In order to enter in the sweepstakes, you have to leave a rating and review on iTunes. And from the people who do that, we will pick basically randomly out of a hat a winner. And that person can choose what we cover in a future episode. So if there's a TV show episode or a movie that you really want us to look at, or
we'll do a short series, a YouTube short series.
Yeah, we
don't care. We'll do anything.
A short film.
We'll do a music video.
We'll do a music video, a trailer.
Anything that is
audio
and visual, we will do.
Maybe not plays, maybe not video games, because that includes an audio visual.
Yeah, we'll do animated or live
We'll
action.
do the cutscenes from a video game.
We'll do the ridiculously long cutscenes from, like...
We'll do the Persona 4 but the deadline for that is May 1st, so get onto iTunes, leave a rating, leave a review, and enter in for the chance to pick what we do in a future episode.
Do you know what would be a good thing? You could even send us your film.
And we will
review it.
And we can't promise to be nice, though. We're also going to start putting up some bonus content, which will be accessible only to the $10 patrons. Mm-hmm. And some of the stuff that we're going to be doing is... it's the new season of Game of Thrones is out. We're going to be doing reviews of those episodes.
As they come out.
Like quick reaction reviews to those episodes as they come out. And this money goes towards a variety of different things. Number one, we are in fact roommates. And we do actually rent an apartment. So we do need money for rent. I'm a freelance editor. That does not pay very much at all. And right now, hiring is slow. We also want to get, as I said, want to get transcriptions done. There's like a couple of different sites where you can send off your audio to get professional transcriptions done. So yeah, also there are like different streaming services that have things that we kind of want to look at, like a DC Universe. I really want to take a look at Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Because that show looks really interesting, and the Titans
show... When
it
comes out, I really want to do WandaVision, just so we can do a WandaVision episode.
Who came up with that name?
I don't know.
It's so bad.
For some reason, every time I say it, I think of Eurovision. For no apparent reason. They have nothing in common, but I just think about it.
Who approved that? But anyway, so yeah, Disney's new streaming service is going to have a bunch of different shows on it that we're going to be interested in looking at. So anyway, that's why we'd like money. That'd be nice. If you guys can only like even donate $2, it would be a big help towards getting some things done and like getting food. So yeah, we also have social media. We are on Twitter at FilmmatesPodca1. We're on Tumblr as well as I think Filmmates Podcast. Also, if you have a question or a suggestion or something else that you want to tell us, feedback, whatever, we've got an email that you can send that to, filmmatespodcast@gmail.com. Next week, we're going to be covering a completely different Tina Fey production, which is The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. We're going to be doing the first 2 episodes and Kimmy Goes to School, which features the wonderful, memeable event that is the Pinot Noir music video.
Yes.
Which I'm really excited about because I'm obsessed with that piece of just media. Anyway, so that's all for this week.
Yeah.
See ya! Are you gonna say goodbye?
Bye.